welcome to Food Mavericks, my beautiful Mavericks. Teddy LaRose here. We're doing a very special Maverick today. We'll call it a Maverick. When you're experimenting and you don't know, then we call it a Maverick. So this particular one was inspired by a dear friend, Christiana, and I thought we should get right into the thing of changing things out. So we have before a little bit. If you are vegan and you don't want cheese on your pizza, we have options, etc. We've done a lot of that stuff. I've done it since I was 13, so I mean, there you go. Okay, hi sweetie, and this is Ricky's birthday. So I thought, well, let's do two versions. We're gonna do the shortcake, the classic shortcake, and we're gonna do toppings and stuff. And then we're gonna do a Maverick, shortcake Maverick. So this is with it in mind of less gluten. We're not going to do gluten-free today, not for the first run. So you know that you're in here kitchen testing with me. I'm going to try and be brief as I can, but you know, I don't know. Okay, so we are going to do one small shortcake. What Donnie did for me was he ground millet, whole millet, into flour and sifted it. And he did it with this beautiful Vitamix. So if you have one of those, you can do this easily at home. It's going to be, a million times fresher than what you can get in the store. So hopefully you can do that one way or another. If you don't have one, maybe your friend has one. Totally worth asking them. Okay, like so, if you don't have one, Christiana, make Ricky do it. Okay, here's the deal. We're going to put the dry ingredients. In this case, I'm going to do 2 parts millet and 1 part flour. So we've got 1 cup of millet flour here, and we're going to do half a cup of this magical, really pretty, wonderful flour that we've been able to get here locally. They call it locally. It's they call it malted. So there's a value in there that really makes everything happy. Half a cup of that. We'll do the baking powder. Not soda, powder. Okay, so that's, where are we? Let's do, we're going to do quite a bit. It won't hurt anything, and it might make it rise more. I'm going to go ahead and put a tablespoon in. That's a lot, by the way. About twice as much as I'd use for the equivalent. We're not going to put eggs or anything in this. It's going to be, well, it could be vegan. I'll use butter, but you could easily do this vegan. We're going to put some sugar in here. So I'm following this recipe I worked out earlier, so sorry if I keep looking over here. Okay, now this is going to have a sweet topping, so we don't want to go too sweet. And shortbread's sort of like that, so I mean, I would say for this much flour, maybe half a cup, but that's pretty sweet. I'm going to go ahead and do like a little more than a quarter. See how I measure? This is a half cup measure. That's how I do it. Just stick it in there. Naturally, if it's not sweet enough in the end, you're going to have a topping. You can do whatever. So in this case, it's kind of easy. And we're going to put some salt, which, by the way, was not called for in the recipe that I read about this. It kind of took off from. I won't put a lot of salt in here. There's only 1.5 cups of flour. So, I don't know, 1/8 of a cup. Bear with me, guys. We're just doing it here. There we go. So, and not cup. 1/8 of a cup of salt. There you go. That'll make it tasty. 1/8 of a cup. And now, if I get slow or boring, we'll cut. Okay, he'll help me. So now we got the dry stuff. You have the leavening. You've got the flour and sweetener in there. It's the classic way everybody does it. This part being itself dry. This is especially relevant if you're not using eggs. The mixing up of stuff is a little different from if you're using eggs and a mixer and all that stuff. And particularly also, if you're not having gluten in there, we're just going to see we can do what we've learned and see if it works. There's that. Mix them well. Now then, here's a fun bit. And you don't even need a Vitamix for this, which has some water in it. But we'll do that, because that was how you can clean the guy by just blending water up in it. I could have done this earlier, but I was busy. So, if you're busy and you didn't get around to doing it earlier, get yourself an apple out of the fridge. This is a mild apple. It's not going to make it too sour. It's a Fuji right here. Fuji's are very sweet. Are not great for baking if you're making a pie or something, but they're kind of great if you just want sort of a little bit of body, which is what we're doing here. By the way, this here is something that a lot of people would call an egg replacer, funnily enough. And it's also going to help it rise because the acid in the apple will combine with the baking soda in the baking powder and make that, you know, volcanic explosion we've all heard about when we do chemistry class, which I never did, but I've done it in cooking, so there you go. So I'm trying not to show you just my back, but sometimes I have to. Okay, so we've got that, and we're going to put a little water in there. So if you didn't want to do this, you don't want to take the time, water will do. Milk will do. I wouldn't recommend it. I will, if you like. I mean, I very rarely put milk in something, but because of combination stuff. But if you wanted to do a milk like almond milk or seed milk, you could do just exactly what I'm doing. Instead of putting an apple in here, you could put a handful of almonds in there and blend them until they're smooth, and it would be great. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Not plugged in. We'll do it. Dang. Again, if it gets slow because we haven't prepped enough. Okay. Now, if you want the flavor, that's my oven. Now it's preheated. Remember to preheat, guys. Otherwise, you'll be waiting around. You don't want to wait around with a mixed up batter for it to preheat, because the chemistry in there is going to start acting out here and not in there. You want to act in there because that volcanic explosion that will happen to an extent. If you put it in the oven, the heat will start to set that, which means those air bubbles that are bubbling around will get set in between a matrix of the water, the grain part, the wheat or whatever. So if it happens out here, it might not happen as much in there. That's just a trick. Okay, so now I've got this, and what I'm also wanting to add is butter. On a day like this, I don't need to melt it or anything. I'm barely able to do this. So you can either do this in advance with sugar the way most recipes do, or you can do it later if it's this ginchy. And see this handy thing, there it is out of there, and you just, if you have that nice spray stuff, that works too, but you're going to have to throw it away now. There you go. Okay, now, make sure the butter, which is like whipped butter, oh lordy, look at that. You know, they use an electric mixer to get at that texture. It's about 85 in here, maybe 90, so just did it all by itself. There's the butter. Now we're going to add the apple. It's like homemade applesauce, a little runny though, right? And I think vanilla's in order, don't you, for strawberries? Yes, okay, so this vanilla's just, you know, sort of my go-to for cake. I love it. Just, I'd say half a teaspoon. See how I measure stuff. Okay, then, this is the nice trick. Okay, see this? Try and get those liquidy ingredients a little more mixed. You're trying not right now to mix the whole thing together. Now is the fun, tricky bit. You want to mix these together, but not too much, okay? So you want to get it like, you want to get the dry bits coated, but not over mixed. And this is another trick when you're not using eggs and all the stuff that tend to make it rise and fluff. There, you see that? How it's kind of lumpy? Lumpy is good in this, okay? So now we're going to put it in this. This might be kind of a tall shortbread, but we could always cut it in half. You know, there's almost never anything you can't rescue to. However, yeasted bread that doesn't arise isn't the most fun, but heck, I haven't tried anything on, okay? Okay. So we're calling this a Millet Maverick, guys. It's kind of on the thick side, and we're going to stick it in here for 30 minutes. So we'll tell you later how it turned out. Love ya!